I started buying stocks when I was 11. I'd been reading every book in the library on it. I loved it. My dad, it was his business, and I'd get to go down to his office and I'd read the books down there, and I saved the money, and finally, by the time I was 11, I could buy a stock, and I could tell you, I went to New York Stock Exchange when I was 9. My dad took us to New York, each kid to New York once, and he took me. I went to New York Stock Exchange, and I was in awe of it. I could tell you how the specialist system worked and the odd lot arrangements, and I could tell you history of finance and all of these things. And then I got very interested in technical analysis and charted stocks, and then all kinds of crazy things, hours and hours and hours. And when I was either 19 or 20, and I can't remember exactly where I did it or something, I picked up a book someplace. I looked at this book and I saw one paragraph, and it told me I'd been doing everything wrong. I just had the whole approach wrong. I thought I was in the business of trying to pick stocks that would go up. And all of a sudden, you see something different than what you were seeing before. Now, it took me in stocks, which I was intensely interested in. I had a decent IQ, and I was reading and thinking, and then I read a paragraph, actually, in chapter 8, I think it was, of The Intelligent Investor. And it told me that I wasn't looking at the duck, I was looking, now it was the rabbit, whatever it may be. If I hadn't read that book, I don't know how long I would have gone on looking for head and shoulders formations and 200-day moving averages and the odd-lot ratios and a zillion things. And I love that kind of stuff, except it was the wrong stuff. You know it when you see it, but you didn't see it for 10 years before. And then there's something that it just all gets rearranged in your mind, and you can say, well, why didn't I see this 5 years ago? But I had a partner. So there is that apperceptive mass that's sitting in there inside somehow, and every now and then it produces some insight. It's better, actually, if it produces insight into your behavior than whether it produces insight to make money. I mean, and some people never get it. Charlie would say, just write your obituary and reverse engineer it. That's something you get wiser on as you go along. The business mistakes, you just want to make sure you don't make any mistakes that take you out of the game or come close to taking you out of your game. You should never have a night when you're worried about investing. I mean, assuming you have any money to invest at all, and you should spend a little bit less than you earn, and you can spend a little bit more than you earn, and then you've got debt, and the chances are you'll never get out of debt. I'll make an exception in terms of a mortgage on your house, but credit card debt, and we're in the credit card business big time, and we'll stay in the credit card business. But why get behind the game? And the world changing or new things coming along don't take away the opportunities. What gives you opportunities is other people doing dumb things. Well, the 58 years we've been running Berkshire, I would say there's been a great increase in the number of people doing dumb things, and they do big dumb things, and the reason they do it to some extent is because they can get money from other people so much easier than when we started. So you could start 10 or 15 dumb insurance companies in the last 10 years, and you could become rich if you were adroit at it, whether the business succeeded or not, and the underwriters got paid and the lawyers got paid. And that creates, if that's done on a large scale, which it couldn't be done 58 years ago, you couldn't get the money. I think that investing has disappeared so much from this huge capitalistic market that anybody can play in, but that the big money is in selling other people ideas that isn't outperforming.
If I were working with a small amount of money, the universe would be huge compared to the universe of possible ideas I work with now. I think if you're working with a small amount of money with exactly the same background that Charlie and I have, and same ideas, same whatever ability we have, I think you can make very significant sums. But as soon as you start getting the money up into the millions, many millions, the curve on expectable results falls off just dramatically. But that's the nature of it. When you get up to things you can put millions of dollars into, you've got a lot of competition looking at that, and they're not looking as I did when I started. When I started, I went through the pages of the manuals page by page. I mean, I probably went through 20,000 pages in the Moody's Industrial, Transportation, Banks, and Finance manuals, and I did it twice. And I actually, looked at every business. I didn't look very hard at some. Well, that's not a practical way to invest tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So I would say if you're working with a small sum of money and you're really interested in the business and willing to do the work, you will find something. If you were, there's no question about it in my mind. You will find some things that promise very large returns compared to what we will be able to deliver with large sums of money.
The beauty of stocks is they do sell at silly prices from time to time. I mean, that's how Charlie and I have gotten rich. Ben Graham writes about it in Chapter 8 of The Intelligent Investor. Chapters 8 and chapters 20 are really all you need to do to get rich in this world. And Chapter 8 says that in the market you're going to have a partner named Mr. Market. And the beauty of him as your partner is that he's kind of a psychotic drunk. And he will do very weird things over time. And your job is to remember that he's there to serve you and not to advise you. And if you can keep that mental state, that all those thousands of prices that Mr. Market is offering you every day on every major business in the world practically, that he is making lots of mistakes. And he makes them for all kinds of weird reasons. And all you have to do is occasionally oblige him when he offers to either buy or sell from you at the same price on any given day.